Between February 2001 and March 2002, a Scottish man by the name of Gary Mckinnon hacked into the US government and NASA's computers, in which he claims to have found proof of a secret program of non-terrestrial officers and vessels. Just as he was about to download a picture of one of these large space military ships, the cursor on the screen moved over and disconnected him. Did he uncover the secret government program called Project Solar Warden? Mckinnon has stated that he knew about the government suppressing anti-gravity technology. I discussed this on my second video on this channel. Check it out. And other UFO-related technologies like zero-point energy. And part of what motivated him to hack the government's computer system was that he felt this technology shouldn't be kept from the people. Part of the reason why he believed in this was from his exposure to the Disclosure Project headed by Dr. Stephen Greer. I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Mckinnon referred to the book under that title, containing 400 testimonials from everyone from air traffic controllers to those responsible for launching nuclear missiles. These witnesses claim that they have been reverse engineering technology taken from either captured or destroyed alien craft. Now, this is a similar story that Bob Lazar has said about the craft he was working on in Area 51. He claimed that the ship he was working on was found in an archaeological dig, suggesting that this has been around for a very long time and that aliens have visited this planet in the past. Mckinnon says that in this disclosure book, a NASA photographic expert claims that there was a Building 8 at Johnson Space Center where they regularly airbrushed out images of UFOs from high-resolution satellite imaging. We've talked about satellite imaging appearing to be scrubbed as well in our Antarctica video. And there's been quite a few claims that the government is blurring out images on Mars, the Moon, and Antarctica, as well as some locations around the world. When Mckinnon hacked into NASA, he managed to locate this department, in which he claims had huge high-resolution images stored in the picture files. They contained filtered and unaltered images. Since this was back in 2001, Mckinnon was using an old 56K dial-up internet connection, and anyone who's old enough to remember those know how painfully slow that was to work with, especially regarding image files. While inside, he gained access to Excel spreadsheets, one entitled Non-Terrestrial Officers, in which it contained names and ranks of US Air Force personnel who are not registered anywhere else. It also contained information about ship-to-ship transfers and names of vessels he could not find anywhere else either.
Didn't really understand how you came to that conclusion. So this is interesting, though. You're seeing you saw visually with your own eyes an image of a long cigar-shaped object, presumably with a variety of domes on the top and bottom of it?
Top and bottom and either end.
Okay, so maybe 4 domes. That's very interesting. It's very interesting. And then someone just said, click, we'll disconnect you. Skeptics are out there all the time, and they're like, well, why didn't he do a screenshot? But could that have even been possible?
Well, yeah, I could have just said print screen.
So what else did you learn before the hammer came down on you in 2002? You saw this image. You saw an Excel spreadsheet that had a list of, or had a reference to non-terrestrial officers. But you saw a few other things as well, didn't you?
Not UFO related.
Not UFO related?
No. And nothing about free energy whatsoever.
Didn't you see a list of so-called fleet-to-fleet transfers involving ships that were actually not as Navy vessels? That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's the same spreadsheet, the non-terrestrial officers spreadsheet.
Okay, so those are the 2 fundamental things. That's what I always thought, actually.
After he was arrested and the US sought to extradite him, where he would have faced 70 years in prison, eventually the British government blocked his extradition and Mckinnon was set free. But what exactly did he find? Pictures of spacecraft? Non-terrestrial officers and ships? This sure sounds like Project Solar Warden. Project Solar Warden is said to be if you couldn't tell by now, a top secret black budget program where the world governments maintain a fleet of spacecraft and bases around the solar system. According to a supposed former insider, Corey Good, they first retrofitted submarines to fly in space, and these would match the cigar-shaped UFOs that people have witnessed. He also claims that there are bases on Mars and the Moon. We've talked about the moon bases as well. He claims they have since built many variations of ships, carriers, research vessels, small fighters, and small shuttles. The project is said to be a fleet of ships that monitor and defend our solar system from what we can guess is alien visitors, the existence of which has not been officially confirmed or denied by any government. On April 13th, 2009, the US National Archives released nearly 250,000 pages of documents from the Reagan administration, and it contains an interesting ledger, in which he wrote at the end of a meeting on June 11, 1985 about the existence of a classified space program that can transport and accommodate hundreds of astronauts. He wrote that he has received several sessions of information on this subject. Black budgets in the US consist of tens of billions of dollars each year, and it is completely shrouded in secrecy. What I find interesting is the seemingly sudden creation of the US Space Force by former President Trump a few years ago. People who are on the disclosure train would no doubt see this as a step along the way for ultimate disclosure, and an admittance on some level of Project Solar Warden. The operation has garnered so much interest that even a game was created with the name Solar Warden, in which there is a fleet of ships protecting the planet from invaders. Possibly makers just thought the idea sounded cool and decided to make a game out of it, but some might say it's possibly a psyops. If you Google just Solar Warden, all you get for the first bit is this game. Another popular theory on the internet is one called Project Moonbeam. Project Moonbeam is said to be a plan to project holographic images of a UFO invasion to scare the public into a one-world government. It would also project every culture's deity and tell them about the truth about their religion. And all this would be enough to scare and sway the public to agree to a one-world order.
Obsession with antagonisms of the moment. We often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Project Moonbeam has garnered a lot more hype recently due to the Chinese spy balloon and other 3 mysterious objects that we aren't being informed about that were shot down recently, making people buzz that Project Moonbeam is starting. Of course, if you have a fleet of spaceships, you really wouldn't need to project holograms of alien craft, would you? You could just send down your fleet and get the same reaction from the public that we're being invaded by alien craft. If this technology of anti-gravity exists, and there really is a space fleet, and this all was kept secret from us for multiple decades, it would appear very alien to us, and most people would believe they were alien crafts. Maybe that's why the technology hasn't been revealed to us so far. The Mckinnon thing is very interesting because, while it appears he did actually illegally access government sites, including NASA, and did get to snoop around and save things to his hard drive, he did face extradition charges and was arrested, so that part isn't fake. He's not likely to make up just this one part of the story about aliens and UFOs and non-terrestrial officers. Now, it's not impossible that he just made that part up, but I don't think it's likely. However, there's a couple things. He was very much into the Disclosure Project and the idea of UFOs and technology being hidden from the public. So what he saw, he could have easily interpreted as such because he's already looking at it through that lens. Non-terrestrial could mean something entirely different, or it could be some sort of wargaming strategy in the event that one day we did need a Space Force, and thus very real looking ship-to-ship transfer logs, etc. As for Corey Goode, well, his in-depth descriptions on this cover the entire gamut of all alien lore out there. Bases on the moon, Mars, and other planets. 22 alien species, 1 living underground, 1 are lizard people. He includes stargates and wormholes, abductions, aliens that represent each of the human race, etc. And while he can have a long presentation, it's also fantastical and on the nose with every other alien theory out there. It reads as an attempt to grift off a culture that wants to believe too much. I get the same vibe from the Disclosure Project in general. And mostly because, well, to be honest, all the other people who claim to have secret information on zero-point energy or top secret information and release it, well, they seem to suffer from sudden bad health. And none of these people seem to have had the same effect. Also, we are led to believe that what Mckinnon did and found, that the US government would just stop trying to go after him. I haven't even really heard about him for a long time before I started to research this topic, so to not even try to keep destroying his character and life seems odd. Now, they may have successfully memory holed him to some degree, but things don't really seem to add up. However, you can't rule out completely what he found. I'm not sure you can completely rule out that the governments do have anti-gravity tech and do have some form of craft that can travel in space and move in ways that we think physically impossible. UFO debunkers use this defense all the time, suggesting if some of these craft that are seen by people are really there, that it must be our secret technology. So you'd have to say, even the debunkers might believe this theory. For me, I'm not sure what to believe on this one. I don't believe the Corey Goode version, or the Disclosure Project, but maybe some small, more realistic version of all this seems, well, kind of plausible? Well, I'm not sure. Now it's time for you to tell me what you think. Do you think it's all real? Could it be possible? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and share and subscribe, and hit the notification button. It really helps out a small channel like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.